Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Huggy Lowdown, Chris Paul and Coy Malone extravaganza. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome to What You Need to Know headlines. It is a rainy day here where we are. We had a late afternoon storm, and the weather is creating havoc all over the country. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Chris and Huggy, you are with us today, but may not be with us next week as you guys are hitting the road this weekend, huh?
On the road again. Jacksonville, Florida. We are on our way.
I thought you said Jacksonville.
No, Jacksonville, Florida. We are on our way. The Comedy Zone, Thursday through Saturday through Sunday. I don't know. Well, we're here this weekend, so get your tickets now before it sells out at comedyzone.com.
Come on out, Duval.
Are you guys feeling more and more comfortable about getting on the road, being on stage these days?
We have no choice.
You're saying, do we need money?
No. I don't mean choice.
Yes.
I mean just in terms of familiarity, comfort with the people in the audience, hearing the laughter. Are they still masked up? All of those things that have precluded you guys from being who you were before the pandemic.
We've been very comfortable, but we have to say this is our first time performing in Florida, so we don't know. That's a different animal down there.
Well,
and the rules are different.
You know how Florida be like, damn.
Right.
The rules are definitely different in the state of Florida, but we love the Floridians and they love you guys.
We love the Floridians.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe Tom will roll on up to Duval and
might.
check you fellas out.
I talked to him. He might.
Okay.
I don't know if Jacksonville has a nice enough hotel in its city for Tom.
We don't know of it. Tom will find it.
Tom will find it, and Jacksonville is ready for Tom Joyner. Trust and believe.
Jacksonville love Tom.
All the years that Jacksonville has hosted the Tom Joyner Morning Show, I know that they got a place for Tom to lay his head. Absolutely.
Well, I wish he would let us know soon so we can put him on the bill. Help us sell this joint out.
You mean you ain't put him on the flyer, Chris?
We damn sure will.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
That's the smart way to do it, fellas.
Yeah, right.
I'm not mad at that. Tom's coming, and oops, he didn't make it. Okay,
right.
Sorry. But while you're here, we got some jokes for you.
Right.
Absolutely. Did y'all have good weekends? Coy, I know you were busy, as we saw on Instagram. You were a busy girl, weren't you?
Yeah, I had a very fun-filled weekend.
She said, I had a what is that?
that Coy laugh is something else.
Tell us about it, Coy. Tell us about your weekend.
Well, this weekend I got to perform with Diamond from Crime Mob, who is a very
Knuck if you buck Diamond.
Knuck if you buck Diamond, yes. And she had a show in Bowman, South Carolina. Now this was a little strange, only because the venue was in the middle of a cornfield. So when we turned,
like where you are now,
yeah, except it was corn. Like this, I can do this, but corn, no, turn around. I gotta go somewhere else.
That's a different kind of husk.
And hustle.
It was fun. I had a great time performing. And so I was one of her background dancers.
Yeah.
And before we
you can see clips of Coy's performance on her Instagram.
Really?
Let's just say the popcorn started popping.
Okay. Over red marker.
And I got a chance to have a little bit of fun beforehand at the studio where we met up to do our rehearsal. They had something called a 360 tricycle. And let's just say I hope I didn't tear up these nice people's studio with this tricycle.
or with the 50 splits in a row. I'm not sure what. And we will also show you a little bit of that.
So you really did 50 splits in a row?
Yeah.
That's got to be some type of record or something, right?
Yeah. Did you contact the Guinness people?
I should see how many I can do in 1 minute. I think I could beat the record.
Well, do it and then contact them and could have some history made.
You must haven't seen the rest of these videos out here, of course. 50. We did that last year.
Okay. And that really was
Good for
in
you,
the
Coy.
cornfield.
Good for you, Coy.
Let's talk about what is going on in terms of topical news. At the top of our news calendar today, a lot going on in Austin and outside of Austin, as the governor called back to session, the special legislative session, because the Democrats walked out on them around Memorial Day weekend. And that did not enable them to pass this restrictive voting bill. Well, they called them back. They have more restrictions to add or to continue their effort to suppress the vote amongst people of color in the state of Texas. And the Texas Democrats, the House Democrats, what they do? They left again. And not only did they leave and go to a nearby church, they left the state.
Wow.
So amongst the Democrats and the representatives left today en route to Washington, D.C. by bus and by airplane to deny the Republicans their ability to pass this new restrictive voting bill with 26 days left in the legislative session. Okay, so the law calls for an extension, the special session to last for as long as 30 days. They've been there. Now they have 26 days left. And if they can stay away for 30 days, they might be able to deny the Republicans once again this bid. Now, the governor is not going to take this lying down, if you'll pardon the expression, and nor will other high-ranking Republicans as they boarded these planes out of Austin, headed to the Capitol. At least 51 of the 67 Democratic representatives, that is the number needed to break the quorum, we're in the process of leaving this afternoon, and I think we have pictures of the thanks to some of the representatives who sent us pictures of them on the planes and ready to hit the road. And
Private planes, right?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't it private planes?
Yes. They had made the arrangements for the planes, but there they are. Yeah, you can't count on I guess some of these commercial planes, Chris, especially as they are known to be canceling their flights these days.
I'm glad to see some black legislators on the plane, because I heard some went by plane and some went by bus. I said, you know how they do us.
And in the back of the bus, too.
Right.
The House is set to reconvene tomorrow morning, but the absent Democrats could mean that there will be not enough members to present or to conduct business under the House rules. And the statement released today, it says Texas House Democrats stand united in our decision to break quorum and refuse to let the Republican-led legislature force through dangerous legislation that could trample on Texans' freedom to vote. And so now they are doing. And this is what is so great about these people in the state of Texas, the Democrats in the state of Texas. They are doing what the national Democrats in the House and Senate should be doing, especially the Senate. The Senate is sitting there going, well, we don't have a quorum. I mean, we can't block this filibuster. So I don't know what we gonna do.
Right.
Come on, think. Let's put our thinking hats on, young boys and girls.
Right.
Let's get out, or old men and old women. Let's get out there. Yeah.
I can't recall the what vote it was, but remember the Democrats somewhere did that? They left, but the Republicans voted anyway. And made it official. I can't remember what important vote it was and where it was, but
I'm with you, Chris. And
they did it. They voted anyway, even though it's against all the rules.
Right.
They went ahead and did it.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't pull some shady shit like that in Texas.
And so they're probably in contact with the Republicans elsewhere and seeing how they can do this. But according to the rules, you don't have a quorum. You can't vote on these pieces of legislation. Of course, they have tried to change some of the things.
So, you know what? Hearing rules and Republicans in the same sentence.
It's an oxymoron there.
I know, right? Because they break all that shit.
They break all the rules and don't care. I mean, look at
when it affects them.
For sure.
Right.
And they do not want to follow the rules when it helps us. They lack the votes to keep the Republican-controlled legislation from passing the new voting restrictions, along with other conservative priorities, according to the 11-item agenda in this special session. But they hope that this will give Democrats are hoping this will give them the leverage to force good faith negotiations with Republicans. They say have largely shut them out of negotiations over this voting bill. And they had time. to get into some negotiations and to work some things out and to perhaps bring things up to at least to give the Democrats some sense of their participation in this bill, no matter what the Republicans have tried to do, and to take away from people of color, and especially as it affects people in Harris County. And the black and brown people there, but definitely throughout the state of Texas. And so they're going to make their pitch. They're going to go to Capitol Hill and try to bring some attention. And the president is scheduled to go to Philadelphia tomorrow to talk about voting. They're hoping that he will make a profound statement and speech as he goes to near his home turf, as he goes to Philadelphia tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. But definitely, in the meantime, House Democrats, state representatives in the state of Texas have vamos. They have gone elsewhere and making it difficult for the Republicans to ramrod this voting legislation down their throats. All right, let's talk about something that is near and dear to your hearts, comedians. Bill Cosby. Mr. Cosby has now been out for almost 2 weeks, been out of prison. He was let go on a technicality.
We're going to put him on our flyer, too, for the Comedy Zone. Tom Joyner and Bill Cosby will be there.
Hopefully not together, but...
We put Bill's picture right next to the 2-drink minimum on the flyer.
As a result of his 2018 conviction on sexual assault charges, and that was overturned due to the technicality, he was sentenced in September of that year after being convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constand back in 2004. Now, as of yesterday, the Montgomery County District Attorney issued a statement obtained by the news outlet saying addressed the state Supreme Court justice calling Cosby's trial a reprehensible bait and switch by the prosecution, referring to a claim made by Cosby's legal team that Montgomery County prosecutor Bruce Castor promised not to criminally prosecute Cosby. Well, he's thinking of taking the state of Pennsylvania to court regarding his having to spend 2.5 years in prison. A lot of people are saying that's the very least that he should have done for the crimes that he did admit to doing, but the technicality allowed him out. But he wants to be very clear and clear his record. And so, according to his PR person, Andrew Wyatt, and attorneys, the consideration is there for them to sue the state of Pennsylvania for putting him in prison for 2.5 years.
Wouldn't that piss people off?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If Bill got a big check
out
of this?
Yeah, exactly. And now, as you were referring, Chris, in terms of Bill Cosby appearing at the Comedy Club, maybe with you this weekend, I'm not sure. But as it was broached last week.
Sybil, don't even say that because we don't know the numbers yet, and we damn sure don't know.
Well, let me just say this regarding to New York City's A Comedy Cellar, which is a real popular and famous old school and still new school comedy club. They have said that no, Bill Cosby will not be making a stop at their comedy club. The owner of the Comedy Cellar, said in Greenwich Village, said absolutely not. He said his venue is not the slightest bit interested. He doesn't want Bill Cosby to even step foot inside his club. And they're known for allowing comics and content that make audiences appear to be uncomfortable. But even in this case, they say Bill Cosby is off limits.
How much y'all want to bet? When Bill Cosby finally does return to the stage, he's cussing his ass off. He's got that new prison jokes. Prison made him harder. No more clean content.
Yeah, America's Dad and all the years of telling other comedians to clean up your act. And so I would not be surprised at that at all, Chris.
Yo, Bill was motherfucking ducking there in prison, Jack. They were trying to get Bill, Jack. They had me in there like the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I said, no.
Very
not
good.
The kid.
The 83-year-old kid. Yeah.
He been working on your pill shit, son. That's good,
Okay.
bro.
Okay. Now that he's out, you got some more stuff. Andrew Wyatt, his PR maven, says that regarding the Comedy Cellar owner saying no to Bill Cosby, he said that's one comedy owner, and then he invokes the words of Bobby Brown, the king of R&B, Bobby Brown. It's his prerogative to do what he wants to do. So we'll see what happens with that.
I wonder if there's going to be a Netflix special on this.
Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be Netflix or not, but certainly there has been a lot of discussion, Coy, about them doing something regarding Bill Cosby, whether they do a stand-up, whether they, it's just Bill Cosby kind of rambling and talking about his situation, how he feels. Would anybody, and I'm asking you guys as well as the folks that are watching us today, would anybody watch this? Would anybody pay good money to watch Bill Cosby, either on stage or on a streaming service?
Well, if it's already on my streaming service that I pay for monthly, then I'll tune in, but I'm not going out of my way to a venue.
So you're saying if it's on one of your services, you would not, you would go ahead and watch it. But if it's not on something, you wouldn't pay for another service in order to watch it, or would you do it during the 7-day trial?
Something along those lines. Yeah, either a 7-day trial, or if it's already on a streaming service, I already have. Yeah, because I kind of want to hear what he has to say. You
mean hear him in like a documentary setting, or
yes,
do stand-up?
Stand-up setting.
I don't know. I might watch it. I might watch it if he was telling the truth.
Well,
I don't want to. I'm not going to waste time being lied to. It'd be like watching Donald Trump.
Right.
You're not telling the truth. I mean, just at least admit to what you already confessed to when you made your deal.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or OJ.
Right.
For all the support that OJ got, a lot of people are, still believe he did it. But okay, that's
OJ still lies, but at least he winks after every lie he tells. You know I didn't kill her.
Wink, wink. Absolutely, absolutely. Huggy, what about you?
I don't know, Sybil. I don't know.
If it ain't on Pornhub, he ain't watching it.
The shit might be on Pornhub.
If the money is right for Mr. C, then they just might put it somewhere like that. I don't know. But Chris, would it make a difference if it was his a documentary telling his side of the story, or if it was his stand-up?
I'd more likely watch a documentary than stand-up. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. He seems so frail right now. I can't imagine him. Well, he did sit down when he performed, but
yeah,
he just seems so frail right now, and he's aged so much. I mean, he doesn't even hook up with chicks no more. He loses track of which cup has the drugs in it. Oh. he keeps knocking himself out. Oh shit! I took the wrong drink. Keeps happening to him.
Oh dear. And one more thing I do want to talk about. This isn't hot enough. I want to talk about the weather and send our best wishes to all the firefighters and all the people who are suffering from the fires that are going on out west.
Yes.
In California, firefighters made some progress against the Beckwith fire complex over the weekend. And according to figures from the U.S. Forest Service, the Beckwith complex fire has now burned 90,000 acres and is 23% contained.
Remember when Trump was president and California was on fire and he absolutely did not give a fuck?
Nothing.
I mean, let it burn. Zero from the federal government.
Yeah.
The whole state is on fire.
Right.
And because they didn't vote for him, he said, let it burn.
He said, let it burn. And the current president is saying, we need to support our firefighters, and especially those that are doing this work to save lives and save homes and what have you, is proposing an increase in pay for those people that are doing those things. And on the other side of the country, you guys, are you affected by all of the rain that has gone down? And have you seen what happened with the flooding in New York City?
Yeah, we haven't got anything like New York, but New York is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that people are actually going into waist-high water to get on the subway.
On the
How
subway.
crazy is that?
I mean,
Yeah, no, I can't.
there's nothing but rats and the theme from Jaws playing.
Right. No,
Pee
for
from the
real.
Right.
sidewalks, pee
Right.
from the rats, bubble gum,
Well,
spit,
I mean,
all that is in the water.
those aren't the only things coming. Excretions from our bodies that are in the water there, Coy.
Right.
City
Uh-huh.
trash.
Yeah, bodily fluids and what have
A whole
you.
lot of fecal bacteria. Like,
Yeah.
like that beach in Texas I read about. I don't know the name of it.
It's bad enough if you drop like loose change or a lighter or your keys on the sidewalk in New York.
Forget it.
I've seen
It's
people
done.
just they don't pick it up and say, no, it's over with.
It's a
Now
wrap.
you have
People in New York don't drop
water.
their lighters.
Nah.
If anything else goes, but not the lighters.
But it's the same. And again, who does this affect? It affects the people who have to ride subways.
Yeah.
That class of American citizen.
Well, that's a whole lot of people up in New York.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what it affects. It's like all of these states are so poorly run, and what they do with their money. New York spent a fortune on their police department, buying them all kinds of crazy shit. Right? Shit they don't even need. Shit that was inspired, purchases that were inspired by the protests.
Right.
You know, they see the protests and the police will feel better if they're dressed up like stormtroopers, you know, and they have these tanks and everything. Meanwhile, they're doing nothing with the infrastructure.
Right.
Infrastructure. You got bridges collapsing in D.C. You got flooding. We all know Texas, everything goes wrong. They don't invest any money in their grid.
Well, we've seen what happens there. And even last week when the weather got very hot, there was talk about, what they were doing in terms of if they had done anything to help us in the wintertime. And now that we're in the middle of summer, what they were doing.
Y'all better get Jerry Jones to build y'all some shit.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the What You Need to Know newsletter. Today we talked about the voting rights bills that are at a standstill in the United States Senate, as we referenced with the Texas State Democrats in the legislature there. But here we have a story in which, you know what, Coy, I'm going to let you go first. Because I don't want to run out of time, and I do want you to talk about your story, the white police officer, which tells the whole story in the headline, but I want you to go a little bit more in depth. With the white officer punched a black woman during the arrest and placed on administrative leave. This took place in New York.
Yep, in upstate New York. I believe it's DeWitt, New York. And this is on 4th of July. Woman and her sister, they were in a Walmart. Somehow they got into an altercation with about 5 or 6 people. The police were called and directed towards these women. And one officer began handcuffing Tyriana Edmonds and her sister Tajanique Bird. And while she was getting handcuffed, Edmonds started saying, leave the officer alone, just let him cuff me. And the sister is going on and explaining, like, they jumped my sister 2 days ago and she's a month pregnant. And at that time, the officer swung one of the young ladies down to the ground and straddled her as he was handcuffing her. And this is when customers started yelling because the officer was pulling out a taser. And he was using excessive force. So at that time, this is when one of the officers decided to punch the young woman in the face as he was detaining her, and allegedly she was turning her head to bite him. So my whole take on this is, police officers are trained to take a taser. They're trained to take a bullet. You can take a bite. There's no reason why police officers should use fists, especially against a woman, while she's already being detained. This is something that we see happening often when officers are detaining people. They start doing things like using knees to the body, fists to the body. So where do we draw the line?
Sounds like he's done some woman punching before.
Yeah, this isn't new to him.
Yeah, that's nothing you naturally do. Even in the time of distress, you don't just punch a woman in the face.
Right.
Unless punching a woman in the face comes easy to you.
Right. And I think, Chris, and I'm not sure about this, but I think when you just see the color black, you just go to punching.
Right.
on the part of a lot of police. You go to shooting and you go to punching.
Right.
And as you say, this is nothing new to him. And so we don't know, obviously.
No matter the gender.
Right. Exactly right.
It's sad. It's like they associate Black and violence like hand in hand. This is the way that we treat Black people automatically. And that's something that is a narrative that's pushed a lot of times when it comes down to what is the image of Black people. One of the things that people think of is some sort of violence. So they think that this is how we need to be treated. And it's not true.
It's amazing to me, though, how even in this age where we all know by now the power of cell phone recordings and cell phone video, that they have not curbed their whole way of being, knowing they're going to be on video. It's like, they're that comfortable in what they do, no matter what it is.
Right.
That even if it's video,
and they have video.
They're perfect. They're absolutely positive they're going to get off
because of the passes they've been getting, bro.
Right, and they have video.
And so, talk about that, Coy. Can you?
Yeah. So, in an effort to answer questions about what happened with this particular incident, and as a response to protests that were held outside of the police department decided to upload video from the surveillance at Walmart, the police body camera video, and bystander video from a cell phone. They put it all together in a 15-minute video and narrated it and uploaded it to their Facebook page, which we linked in our newsletter. If you have subscribed to our newsletter, you can check out the link and it'll go directly to that Facebook page, to that video. And they're actually like explaining what's going on, detailing it. It's wow.
It's crazy. It's absolutely.
Like, what kind of PR is this?
Yeah, it's bananas that the police department would do this and put it on their space. But for as Coy mentioned, if you want to go to SybilWilkes.com, and if you have not already subscribed to our free newsletter, do it. And you can also link on to that video from the DeWitt Police Department. And once again, there's something in the water. I don't know what it is, but upstate New York, there is a lot of craziness. This is near Syracuse. We know that they have done the dirty deeds against people, including murder of people in Rochester. All of these places are just really, the craziness runs rampant within these police departments.
Yeah, and doing some research over the weekend, I came to discover that New York State is a state that is statistically it's racist, and the person that did this research, I was watching it on YouTube, was basing this off of internet searches per state, and there was a lot of different racially based internet searches in upstate New York, including Syracuse, Buffalo, a lot of those areas up there, believe it or not. And a lot of people think just because it is in the north and this is somewhere that was considered to be a progressive area, during when there were slaves and during the civil rights and stuff like that, they think that racism doesn't exist up there, and it does heavily.
You can see that just based upon the way they treat the statues of former slaves and those who are part of the Underground Railroad, how they feel about that. But and let's just not leave out the New York City Police Department while we're at it. So, as I was also referencing, talking about how to get past the filibuster in the United States Senate, and our friend Congressman Jim Clyburn, who is the majority whip in the United States Congress, had an interview over the weekend with Politico and said, you know what, we've got to figure out a way to, as has been described as carving out the filibuster in some of these votes. And what he is suggesting is that you tweak the whole filibuster rule, which means that you have to go through this 60 votes in order to stop people from speaking out against something, or to enact these speeches and delays in order to stop a vote from being taken. So he said you can find a way to work with The Democrats who perhaps are not in favor of dismissing the filibuster, but to talk about ways in which you do not invoke the filibuster rule when it involves the Constitution. And of course, voting rights involves the Constitution. That comes from the Constitution. So if you make that the exception, if you tweak that, if you carve out that section that has to do with the Constitution, then perhaps we can go forward with these voting rights, whether that can happen or not. But he's just tired of the inaction, which is what a lot of people are tired of. Right. The inaction, want you to do something. So he has called upon the president to work on this with Manchin and Sinema and perhaps even Republicans, some of those 10 Republicans who could perhaps be persuaded to change some of this, to carve out the filibuster rule regarding the Constitution and voting rights, and so we can get these laws passed. Whether this can happen or not, that remains to be seen, but at least they're trying to do something instead of just, twiddling their thumbs and saying, we're at a loss. We don't know what to do. Something has to be done.
What would Mitch McConnell do?
Right.
It's like maybe we have the wrong leadership in the Senate for the Democrats. We need somebody who's equally as ruthless, but you're being ruthless for things that really matter. You're not
for the good.
Right. You're not ruthless to give tax cuts to the rich.
Yeah.
You're being ruthless to tax the rich. Yeah. You're being ruthless to make sure Black people can vote.
Righteous ruthlessness.
Right. Righteous ruthlessness is what is needed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We need somebody with that Cynthia McKinney attitude.
Well, Cynthia McKinney, we need somebody with that AOC attitude. We who are there now, and God bless Cynthia McKinney. When she was in the House, she was doing that, right, Coy? And now you got AOC, you got the squad, you've got a number of really great and forward thinking, and perhaps a little bit of that righteous attitude that needs to be taken in order to think like McConnell and to do these things. The Republicans historically have had guys working in that party who have found a way to overcome all of the good, all of the righteous things that are being done for people in this country. If you look back, who was it? It was George Bush's Lee Atwater. Remember Lee Atwater, who started that whole thing with in 1988 with the governor of Massachusetts, who was running against George Bush. Okay. And so remember, they had this Black man who was in prison. He was let go by a judge and in Massachusetts, and the judge let this guy go, and he ended up raping and killing a white woman. And so this was a part of the campaign. Do you want a president like this who is going to let people go and kill your wives and your daughters?
Right.
You need, and they historically have all of these bad people, but and you can have that diabolical way of thinking without being a bad person. And you need people within the Democratic Party to go punch for punch against McConnell and McCarthy and all of those other guys that are now and even those who are out of office who are doing really bad things.
I mean, think about it. Mitch McConnell might as well still be in charge.
He is.
Just being able to stop the Democrats from doing what they want to do. We might as well be in charge. And what did Mitch McConnell not get done that he wanted? The only thing they weren't able to do was get rid of Obamacare.
Exactly.
Because they couldn't even get their own people to vote for that. That would have been career suicide.
Yeah.
Because you guys could never come up with your own plan. If you could have came up with a better plan,
we got a plan. We got a plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell did whatever he wanted to do, and when they had the majority, we had the majority, and we can do nothing.
Thank you so much, Donna, on YouTube. Donna Porter Cunningham reminded me it was Michael Dukakis and the Willie Horton episode. Willie Horton was the prisoner. He was the Black prisoner that was let go. Michael Dukakis was the 1988 presidential candidate. And Lee Atwater was the man that created that whole thing. And his his campaign just has never hit with the people. And so, and you're right, Chris, you look at what the Republicans were able to do, just say, 2 words, Supreme Court, and
Right.
that alone.
Right.
And that started during the Obama administration when he wouldn't let the president, with still a year to go before election, wouldn't let the president nominate some or have their nomination come up for a yay or a nay vote.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Even having the vice president as that 51st vote, that means absolutely nothing because you don't have those additional 10 votes that you need to get past the filibuster, and you've got to have that. And so it's like that Pinocchio thing. McConnell's just he's pulling the strings.
You saw that video, the video that came out over the weekend. I guess it was secretly taken of all the Republicans getting up there talking about how they were praising what's his face, jackass from West Virginia.
Manchin
and Cinema, is that her name? They're praising that, how grateful they are to them, and they're laughing and carrying on, and it's a whole bunch of Republicans.
Oh yeah,
just how grateful they are. Those two were basically keeping them in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what does that say as you're sitting there in your mansion? Are you smiling and kind of thinking, yeah, I'm with them?
Right. Or, I'm sorry. Also, they were instructing the other people in Congress, Republicans, to have your constituents call up Manchin and Cinema office and thank them for caring about this country so much.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. What they're doing to keep America great again.
Again, there's laughter going on too. They're like,
yeah, for sure. But the point is made.
Right.
That Manchin and Cinema, for all intents and purposes, are Republicans that are working against the good of the Democratic Party.
Right.
Of the country.
It's like that's their whole life mission. They don't care about anything else.
Well,
nothing that makes sense.
Well, try to make sense out of politics, Coy. And when you do that, you can make $1 gazillion.
I'm working on it.
We celebrated having control, but we have 2 players on our team that are not playing for our team.
Right.
It's like the Manchin's like Kyle Kuzma on the Lakers.
Oh man!
It's like he's not helping you win. He's not helping you win.
Kyle Kuzma and Ben Simmons, Chris.
Right. It's like Cinema's Ben Simmons.
You need some Doc brothers on that thing. Right.
They're not interested in helping you win, man. It's
No, you play well in practice, but when it comes to the big thing, you're not able to score. You can't make those. Well, in a lot of ways, it's like Shaq. You can't make that 3-point. There's also talking about coronavirus, and I don't know if you guys are concerned about this as your children are above the age now, but all of this thing about the mask updates and whether kids should, if they're vaccinated, and the teachers, whether they should have to be wearing masks in the classroom, and what does this mean for the kids who are 11 and under who are not yet able to be vaccinated, and going back and forth, and who do you trust, and as the school makes the decision, do you make the decision? Because everybody wants their kids back in class. They want them in the school, but at what cost when the rules are so confusing? Who do you believe? Who do you trust on this?
You're talking about an entire school. That's an entire elementary school of children that will not be vaccinated. I talked to my cousins today and their school teachers, and they have concerns. They said, I don't care what is being said, I'm still going to wear my mask. They're vaccinated, and they have some concerns about that because they feel like the numbers are just going to go crazy this fall.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, the Delta variant, it's no joke. 20,000 new cases every day.
Of the Delta variant.
Yeah.
You know, kids like to sneeze and touch stuff and sneeze on each other and think it's funny. Ha, 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 ha. Nah, you would get away from me, little kid. Back up.
They're nasty enough without a virus like this.
They gotta scare the black people from not trying to catch it. Call it the spirit variant.
What?
Instead of Delta, the spirit.
Black people ain't afraid of spirit.
I don't want to catch this
Black
one.
people keep spirit in business.
Just wondering how you all will be traveling down to Jacksonville this week.
I'd rather my children get COVID than that critical race theory.
That sounds like some real shit, bro.
Put your mask over your ears so you don't hear that shit.
It's now, and we are laughing.
It's COVID race theory.
It's COVID race theory. That'll get the attention, right? That'll get folks to answer their doors and have some sort of conversation. If you bring that critical race theory nonsense into the conversation.
Oh shoot.
It's time for our question of the day and the trending video, and this is thanks to our very own Coy Malone. It's all Coy today. We had a question about
you do 50 splits with Diamond, you start taking over shit.
No, we don't have the 50 splits video, but we do. But you can go to Coy's Instagram page and you can see that. But the question of the day and our trending video, we'll get to it as a result of Coy's question. When was the last time you laughed until you cried? So was that the last time you saw Chris and Huggy on stage, or has there been something else?
Oversold.
But do you remember the last time you laughed until you cried? And Coy, tell us about this particular event in which you laughed until you cried, and then we'll play it.
So I'm in this.
It's tickling her right now.
She just laughed like 3 different people.
Yeah.
Look at her. She's like,
Yo, as a psycho. Yo, as a psycho. You
got multiple personalities.
Grounded.
And you call me Sybil.
No, so I'm in this group on Facebook called Black Girls Culinary, and someone posted a photo of watermelon with mustard. Apparently, this is a new TikTok trend, and people are saying, "Oh, it's good. You should try it." The comments and responses had me crying for days. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so this is a package, not a video. And so can we play that? Okay.
Duh.
Mustard does not belong on watermelon. Thank you, Tiara.
It doesn't. This is the
This is one of Coy's favorite pictures. This is one of her favorite memes to send. Go ahead, Coy. What is that?
It looks like
that's somebody's head.
It's like on a wig. Yeah, doll head.
But they cut their hair off.
It does.
Are those the side effects of eating watermelon with mustard on it?
It might be.
What in the Caucasian situation is going on here?
Hold on, look at Lori Jackson actually tried it.
Oh yeah, a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm. Some people said it tasted like a hot dog. I'm like, huh?
Mm-mm.
That was a question that a lot of people asked. Are you pregnant?
Are you pregnant? The people that liked it. It's a food trend, yeah. And JV says, okay, we're just making sure. And that made Coy laugh. Oh, you heard her. She could barely tell the story. Before
you laughed at that shit. Seriously.
Is she on that stuff, Huggy?
You laughed at that shit.
Huggy, you think she's on that stuff?
Yeah. She inhaling them plants back there. There's some medicinal plants back there, some shit.
So I'm asking folks and asking you guys, because I don't remember the last time I laughed until I cried. I laughed, but and I would say on this show I have laughed until I cried. I think the Chair Dancing Kings made me laugh until I cried a couple of weeks ago. Let's see what we have here. People are
you won't be laughing and crying today.
I laughed till I cried when my drug addiction client told me she wasn't taking the vaccine, but would get drugs from the dealer. How crazy is that?
Damn.
You will buy drugs from your dealer, but you
Yeah,
won't take the vaccine.
I had an uncle like that. He wouldn't get the shot, but he'd shoot heroin.
How crazy is that?
Sometimes you gotta wonder, is that the cure? Because I haven't seen any heroin or crack addicts with COVID yet.
Look, BB the bootleg king.
Michael Stallworth on Facebook. Speaking of Huggies, Benny the bootlegger, BB the bootleg king, ripping him off for the Precious when Sean Kingston was Monique and someone from The Blind Side was Precious. Oh my God, that will make you laugh.
Everything, bro. That was
funny. I know.
Michael Stallworth has an amazing.
Mike is a historian. He
really is. He really is. He's our Rain Man.
Yeah,
he really is. He has a catalog in his head. Chris, let me ask you: Have you had occasion of late, or do you remember anything that just made you laugh so hard?
No, but my wife did. But it's kind of intimate. I don't want to talk about it.
You said your wife laughed so hard till she cried?
Yes.
And we're just gonna leave that moment alone, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then she said, "Plug this in and leave the room."
On Facebook, last time I laughed till I cried was the video shown on here not long ago of the little girl getting permission to cuss and letting it fly. Oh yeah, that was a Yolanda Starks White special. Yeah, Mama, can I say a bad word? Mama, can I say a bad word? Yes, yes. And then the little girl went. And I'm sure Yolanda still has that on her phone somewhere. I went to see J. Anthony. Oh, you went to Baltimore. J. Anthony Brown was in Baltimore. Carolyn Miller on YouTube.
She didn't say whether the nigga was funny or not. She just said
she cried.
I'm assuming, Carolyn, because I have to work with Jay tomorrow, that you laughed until you cried.
I can see that.
I can see that with Huggy and Chris on stage this weekend as well. Frank Winsett says on YouTube, when I seen a video when testimonies go wrong at church, a woman says she was delivered from what she used to do. Can't say what it was she said, and I think we know. Delivered from perhaps the favorite bodily organ. I'm not sure.
What? Don't edit shit now, Sybil.
She was delivered from the D. Okay.
She got out of Dallas. Good.
Detroit. She was delivered from Detroit. Yes, thank you. Yes.
From Bel Air.
Rough city.
Always. So, Coy, one must question your sanity if that made you laugh till you cried. But I get with the responses and what people were doing. So, that's the very end. That's the end. Yeah. So let us move to, it's time now for a little bit of entertainment. And I did want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. First of all, be sure to check out Jimmy Kimmel tonight. It's the parade of Black guest co-hosts on Jimmy Kimmel. Last week I had a great week.
I think I see Wanda Sykes on.
With Wanda Sykes was last week.
She was good.
She was very good. And I think the first night, Huggy, it was an all Black show. I'm not sure about the rest of the week, but she had Kim Fields and Mary Clayton sang, and it was a really good show. Right. Tonight, our friend.
That's that critical race theory for you right there. And they were all eating watermelon with mustard on it. That's how they eat it at the baseball games.
Tonight.
It's all a hoax.
Tonight,
it's a hoax.
It's all a hoax.
It's all
a hoax. Let me give you some Black history for you.
Okay.
Black people came here on their own in 1912. They all stood at the gate and they say, "Is it okay if we enter your country?" We said, "Well, this country is free and open for all people, so come in, niggers." And that's how Black people came to America.
In 1912.
In 1912, free.
The open gate policy of 1912, yes.
And a Studebaker.
That's right. They were all in one car.
How
I
many?
said, are you sure you're not Mexican? Come on in, niggers.
Come on, man.
Uncle Chris takes us down the history lane. Is this drunken history, Hug?
No, that's critical race theory from Chris Paul
Right.
himself.
That's how it's being taught now.
Yeah.
That's the new history. That's this new history.
Yeah,
They probably think that's an Olympic running game or some shit. Critical race theory.
Okay. Thank you for reminding me of that. I gotta ask, and I didn't put it on social media, but Sha'Carri, were you in Walmart yesterday? I swear, and I'm not gonna say which Walmart, but it was in the Dallas area because she's from here. I saw Sha'Carri Richardson in
And
Walmart.
you didn't say nothing?
I was so stunned.
She was too fast. She was too fast.
She got her stuff in dips.
But I forgot how little she is, and so I was like, no. But I really believe that it was Sha'Carri. So Sha'Carri
She was in and out of there. She just bought some rolling papers and got out of there. She was out.
She rolled out of there. She kept her shopping blunt.
Okay. She was in.
But why didn't you say something to her, Sybil?
You know what? I started to, and then I was like, well, because she had her head down, but then at one point she looked up. She was with a tall guy, and she looked up, and I said, and I really believe that it was her. But I don't know how you feel about that, but I don't know if she wanted to be, recognized. Sunday when with a bandana over my face.
You didn't have the bandana with Sue, the monogram bandana with
I didn't have the what you need to know face mask on. No, I didn't. It was in the wash. So but I was just wondering if it was Sha'Carri, and if it was, I'm sorry I didn't speak to you, but I thought you warranted your privacy, and so that is that. Tonight on Jimmy Kimmel, our friend Arsenio Hall is hosting.
What?
Yes.
So he's back in late night, and so I think that's going to be great, and I look forward to seeing Arsenio back where he should be in late night TV. And speaking of where they should be, that really is where Wanda Sykes should be, you guys.
Yeah.
Late night is real. I mean, I've seen her guest host for Ellen countless times, and she's always good. But man, that whole late night vibe, you can't touch her. You cannot touch her. And one who will also be going back to where he should be, and it's our friend Arsenio Hall. And so everybody check your DVRs and make sure that if you're not up, that you are watching it. And especially this week as Phoenix continues to finish off Milwaukee. This
so
is
you going with Phoenix, Sybil?
I am. Yeah, and you know why? Because they have the most hideous uniforms. And I think anybody who plays in a uniform like that they deserve a win. They deserve to win the championship.
Is that what you're saying?
Because their uniforms.
That's it. Their uniforms are so hideous. And also, I just want Chris Paul.
Tell us how you feel about UPS.
And I want another Chris Paul to win. I want him to be a winner.
I want to see Chris Paul win too.
Yeah. I think absolutely.
I want to see Chris Paul win this weekend at Jacksonville Comedy Zone. Thursday through Saturday.
Chris Paul, Tom Joyner, and Bill Cosby all together.
Chris Paul, we ain't say which one though.
Just added DJ D Nice. Hitting on the wheels.
And Timberland and Down from the Versus Battle. And introducing the woman they call 50 Splits.
G-Unit. 50 Splits. 50 Splits.
Oh my gosh, Miss Guinness World Records. And one more thing that I want to do before we leave. I want to share with you a happy video, and then we'll do what we do as we end each day. But I want to share this happy video that made me happy to see her so happy.
Coy, you know, based on the kind of stories you cover, I fully expected you to get pulled over in that video. I expected sirens and lights.
Now that made me laugh till I cried.
That was Coy. I fully expected her to get pulled over
That was our Coy, and and Coy explained the bike. It was like it's an e-bike, right?
That's like an adult. It's like an adult tricycle.
Yes,
it's
exactly right.
360 tricycle, and it has wheels on it that are similar to like the wheels on a shopping cart, so they can spin any direction, and it has like a little emergency brake on the side. So when you turn,
and did you know where that emergency brake was?
I learned later on.
Okay.
Where it was. And that helped me, maneuver. And, I was driving this all around the studio because it's kind of set up like in a big circle. And there was another area where they had like these large cutouts, and I kind of used that as an obstacle course. It was a lot.
They should have been playing that.
Well, I gotta tell you,
off that one.
I didn't want to give it away, but that really did make me laugh till I cried. and you were like so happy.
It was fun. I needed that kind of fun.
That looked like it was fun.
That's exactly what you needed. So I'm glad you did have fun. Was that before or after 50 Splits?
That was before.
That's splits or spliffs?
No.
So what you ain't Papa Willie with that? Oh, you got to mention Shorty. What's her name?
I did not mention her, and this made me so happy. Thanks for reminding me.
And she's been getting offers for free rides for scholars.
So Southern University is
LSU.
one of the schools, LSU, and I think some other Louisiana state schools and junior colleges have offered her free rides. Full rides, yes.
Not on that thing that Coy was just doing.
right. Full ride education, and that is thanks to our friends there at Southern, and that just made the first African American to win the Scripps Spelling Bee. 14-year-old girl from Homer, was it Homer, Louisiana, from New Orleans.
And she's a basketball star.
She is
great.
Speaking of world records, she has 3 associated with basketball, with the number of basketballs at one time and throwing them, and she has 3 world records according to Guinness right now. And she wants to go. I think she said she wants to go to Harvard, but Southern is the Harvard of the South. Right.
She wants to join NASA and the NBA too.
Yes, yeah.
I think LSU gave her a full scholarship already.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Southern. So, congratulations. And she's just and I just really like kids that still look and act like kids.
Like kids. You see when she won,
it's just such joy. Huggy, that was joy.
Yeah, I think I worked up a little bit on that.
You did?
Yeah, that was special.
That was very special, and just so glad to see a young teenager looking like a teenager and really jumping and right. Feeling that kind of joy.
Twirling, and
and all of the
President Obama even tweeted.
Oh yeah. It was. I think even Donald Trump did too, but it was misspelled.
Oh shit! You know he never heard of a goddamn spelling bee. He was calling it shrimps spelling bee.
He tweeted that from a whiteboard because he has no Twitter. Held it outside the window for any of those that were interested.
So as we close out today's cast, you know what time it is, fellas?
Oh, you're in honor of the spelling bee. Give me a Y.
Y.
Give me a O.
O.
Give me a G.
G.
Give me an I.
I.
What does that spell, Fantasia?
It's time for
IHOP.
and Fantasia, we love you.
We love you.
Congratulations on the baby,
He
the baby
said
coming
that
home.
shit.
Oh my God. Huggy, perhaps I'm reading this for you, and obviously you took note of this jewel today. Today's Yogi's Jewel Daily Inspiration is respect time, especially your own.
Yeah, I read that earlier. I said they talking about me.
And you were on time today.
Huggy was here before we turned the lights
That's
on.
exactly the reason why I was on time, bro. I saw my letters italicized in the
Not italicized.
I said, what the hell? I felt convicted.
So thanks, you guys. Don't forget, folks want to come to see you in Jacksonville. Where?
At the Comedy Zone. If you got people in Jacksonville, in the Jacksonville area, hit them up and let them know to get their tickets and come see us at the Comedy Zone all weekend long. It's going to be a good time. ComedyZone.com is where you get your tickets.
Have a great time.
We still some funny motherfuckers comedy show.
Still.
Some funny motherfuckers.
Still.
Always, always. And guys, if you will not disengage before, after we finish, and we can hang on and talk to you for a second. Coy, thank you so much. And you'll be working the social justice route.
I'm out, Sybil. I was on time today.
And everybody, thank you. Tomorrow, J. Anthony Brown Day. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow.